Welcome to the next show of the hottest happy hour in STO. You got In Your City show here, Kelly with Gordon right here at the Lou Information Station. The cool thing about it is you don't just have to listen to us on radio at 590 AM, the new KLIS. You can go to louinfo.com, and that way you can see us on the screen, whether it's your phone, your TV, and then you can see the guests that are in the show or what they may have with them or what
Who
they're
knows what you're
wearing.
going to see?
Yeah.
Who knows what you're going to
Sometimes there
see
may
on
be
this
things
show?
you shouldn't see. Like when the sign fell down on our head.
That was the best.
Maybe sometimes
Sign
something,
just went.
yeah, maybe sometimes our face is obviously hair and face. In my
Was that
case,
the
hair,
first show?
not your hair.
Was that the first show?
I think so. Everything was that.
It was because we talked about how Saturday Night Live had the lights fall.
That's right. This was a little bit lighter than the lights falling down, but yeah, sometimes the hair isn't so great. The room gets kind of hot. The makeup gets yuck. All the things you don't have to worry about. That's
Makeup?
so unfair. Who decided that women needed extra help? That is like, think about it. That's just so rude.
Know.
I mean, we have to put all this garb on.
If you guys would have never started the makeup thing, we
Yeah.
never had.
You wouldn't-
Men would never and just expect it.
Exactly.
Really, is that the best you're going to get?
No potential there, I can see. It's so unfair when you think about it. Now, in some cases, you can cover up a pimple or a scar or, can accentuate some things with makeup, where if you guys wear it, it's
We
maybe.
just grow beards, dyed everything.
Yeah, see, and I sometimes wish, because then you could cover up
I'm
the
glad
chin.
no. I'm not marrying the bearded lady from the circus. That's not going to happen.
Better to not have that. Okay. Well, we got a great show today. We're going to sit down with Kelli Risse, leadership coach, professional speaker, and author who helps high achieving leaders succeed. Think she could help us?
I hope so.
We were
I need
hoping
some help.
Cordial Canine could help us with Olive. Maybe we'll see if Kelly can.
Got the dog help. Now
We got the dog help. Now we get the people help. So she's sharing how to shift from burnout to balance, the difference between high achiever, peak performer. I mean, just like reading her stuff makes me feel like I need help. Like,
Oh, I know I
it's
do.
an intense paragraph right here. So we could really be better people after this show. And then we're going to welcome legendary New York Times best-selling children's author. I'm so jealous. Spam calling. Children's author Bruce Coville, whose books have sparked the imagination of millions around the world. From My Teacher is an Alien to the Unicorn Chronicles, he brings a treasure trove of whimsical worlds, unforgettable characters, and insights on how to inspire young readers. I'm so jealous.
So jealous, but can't wait to talk to him, right?
I know, but gosh, I'm like just mesmerized by his ability to bring these books to millions. And in, I don't know, maybe 17, or I'm not even sure. I'll have to ask him how many different languages. So super
That's
cool.
really cool. Yeah.
And our question of the day, what smell instantly transports you back in time? Do you have a smell that you like? You walk into a school, I mean, all schools smell alike. It's like a mixture of throw up, pencils, and paper. I don't know.
Back in time.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I was down on Main Street, St. Charles today, and I went to this little place. And when I walked out, it's like all these shops are together, and one of them was the incense and rock place. And I walked into that store, and it was the incense place.
So like you were in Spencer's
when I
or
smell,
something?
no, not at Spencer's, because Spencer's wasn't in my time in the 70s.
Oh.
But we had what we call head shops. Remember, they were called head shops, and they had like the beads that you put in your doorway, and the lava lamps, and the egg chair with the speakers in it. Remember the egg chair? You'd sit in it. It was like a big egg chair.
I did not have
It had speakers with a radio in it, and but they always had incense, and that always brings me back to like my teenage days, like back in high
Having
school.
beads on the door was like
Black lights, strobe lights.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing ever. I just had to go in and out of them all the time. Wicker chairs.
Wicker chairs.
But plastic, there's a certain smell, a certain plastic smell, and I can't tell you what it is, but when I smell that, I think of being a kid. It's a gosh.
Well, we were talking the other day. Do you remember the stuff that was like, it was like goop, and it was in like a toothpaste thing, right?
Okay.
And then you'd pour it out and you'd put it in this little pipe, and then you'd take the end of the pipe and blow it, and it would blow a big giant plastic bubble like thing.
That's the smell.
Yeah,
that's the plastic
that's when
smell.
you go, oh, that's the smell.
That takes me back to being a kid.
I forgot what it was called, but it was like, yeah, puts a little goo in the pipe and then blow it, and it's like, isn't it crazy? They were teaching us to smoke back when we were like 3.
The fake cigarettes.
I know.
Well, they're
Carmen's got this whole. It's the cigar room, but in the cigar room, it's like
as fake cigarettes.
big
The old
giant
time candy.
Yeah, and they have the old cigarettes, the candy.
They're gonna have to up the prices on the menu because so they can afford to fill up the candy jars. Because when Gordon goes in there, he doesn't just eat a piece of candy like you're supposed to do. We're in the car driving home. He's
pulling stuff out of pockets.
Like we can't afford to buy candy or something. I don't know what that is. But so are you? I know we used to be big time in MTV, and we were talking about that the other day on a show. But they've got the VMA nominations are actually finally here. It started today, so you can actually, which is cool, go on and be part of the voting.
I can't remember if we were part of the voting back.
People's choice. I
don't think we were part of the voting. Were we back then?
I don't think so.
When it first started, because I don't think we had the tools and the like all the apps to do that.
Right. But now it's at your
what are we voting on? Because they don't play music videos anymore. It's like,
how do we see that? I miss that. I can't believe that they don't have that
It
anymore.
used to be 24/7, one music video after the other after the other. No reality shows. We didn't have to watch everybody's stupid
Now
stuff.
it's just them on stage or something on YouTube,
right.
If you're watching the video. I thought MTV was fabulous. Lady Gaga led the charge for the most 2025 MTV VMA Can't Talk Today nominations, with Bruno Mars, Kendrick Lamar, and Rose not far behind.
Who?
Rose.
I've been watching so much of stuff. I can't pronounce anybody's names anymore.
I do know Bruno's Mars and Kendrick Lamar, but Bruno's. I did put this on there. So I know it's Bruno, but I'm looking at this, trying to get it out quickly. And
I just like to give you a hard time.
You always do. So they just say abracadabra, and the 2025 MTV Video Music Award nominations are at your fingertips.
The Steve Miller song, Abracadabra. Remember that?
Every time I say the word, I think of that song. That was a good song back then. Not so much more, but Sabrina Carpenter, who I like, who you put her on the Vote Music playlist, she's coming in behind her, and then Ariana Grande also.
Are the trophies the same? The trophy used to be a moon man with the flag. Is it still
the moon is still in, so you're going to want to be able to take part in that. But so go on, take a look at that. If music, this floats your boat, want to be a part of it, then you can actually go to 2025 MTV Video Music Award and take a look at that. Back to school. I cannot believe kids are already back to school. When I was driving through Kirkwood today, it must have been the first day of school.
No way.
The whole front of the school was mobbed with. First of all,
there was
a fire alarm.
Our house today.
Yes, they are going back
Kids
to school.
Kids are back to school already?
Yes, it's so early. I don't know if all of them are, but a lot of them are.
It was the end of May and the 1st of September.
Labor Day.
We had off from.
You actually, as a kid, were excited and ready to go back because it seemed like it took forever for school to start.
I was never
to wear that new outfit.
I was never, ever in the lifetime of my life was I ever excited to go back to school.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was like, really?
It could be 100 degrees, and I was wearing my new corduroys and whatever I got as my fall back to school outfit. I was stoked and ready to go.
Well, yeah, but you were like this. In high school or grade, well, even in grade school, high school, you were like prom queen and cheerleading.
Prom queen in elementary school.
All this crazy stuff.
And in fact, I was never on prom court because our school was different. If you made homecoming court, you were not allowed to be nominated and picked for prom court. So
which would you rather?
Well, I'd rather be homecoming because I loved football in fall, and prom court was the people who didn't make homecoming court.
So that was the leftover people.
It was the leftovers. You got
nominated because you didn't get nominated the first time.
So it definitely and plus we had a parade with homecoming, so we got to ride in the car.
I never went to prom, and I think maybe I went to one homecoming.
It's so sad. Maybe
we
need to do a prom event
going on, and we were out somebody's field.
We're about to meet our first guest, so I want to let you know this back to school season is here, and there's some special places that are offering some back to school meals and that. So Eckert's Farm is making back to school season a little easier for families. Every Thursday, families can enjoy a free kids meal with the purchase of adults. So the adults must eat, and then the kid gets to eat for free, which is great. Some kids eat more than we do as adults.
Yeah.
And then you've got Dee Dee Mao, who we just had on the show,
Yeah.
multiple locations. They've got a brand new kids menu full of fresh and flavorful and picky eater approved options. They've got a set kid sized portion. At a very, very affordable cost. Lion's Choice is doing their $2 off their Cub meals. They'll have that every Tuesday after 4 p.m. Neon Greens, which I have never been to. Have you been to one? It's on Manchester.
No.
Every Saturday, families can visit Neon for a farm tour, a firsthand look at how the restaurant lettuce is grown, harvested, and delivered straight to their kitchen on a conveyor belt. So they've got that going on, making it a little bit fun for the kids. And then Pirano makes me think of piranha fish.
Yeah. What is
Pirano. That's on Manchester. Never been there as well. They've got a back to school with a kids eat free every Tuesday, starting right now all year long.
Well, if you own a
That's nice of
restaurant,
them.
and we're talking about restaurants, me and
Yeah.
Kelly want to start coming to your restaurant. We want to start doing a thing called Cheers to You. So we're going to do our cheers on our Friday episode.
Yeah,
We'll have
we're
a
going to select one
cheers,
restaurant a week.
and we'll come to your restaurant, eat all your free food, and
Eat all your free food.
and do a cheers right from your
Yeah,
restaurant
show off
and
your
talk
menu.
about it.
Yeah, we'll be able to. That's the cool thing about being on luinfo.com is not only you can hear it, but you can actually
Get
see
to
it.
see it, so
be
people
part
will
of
get to
it.
see it, almost smell what you have.
Yeah, that's right. Well, now we're going to get started with our first guest. Who is she? She is Kelli Risse, and she's amazing. I actually, what's so cool about getting to have you on, Kelli, is I actually got to hear you speak. And I fell in love with you after hearing you speak. And we had met, we've known each other throughout the years for various things, just being involved in so many things, but never really got to get close and personal with you. And so that day at the LBB, the Become event, you not only did you speak, but you popped in at the last minute because one of the speakers who was supposed to be there, some car accident, something happened. You had to on the fly become available. You are a professional speaker, so I'm sure that's it's like some of us we cook or whatever. Speaking is your second. I don't know. Do it with your eyes closed and to sleep. So you popped in, helped out, and I got to hear you speak 3 times because I was the person who hosted the room and introduced the speakers for the day. So you got up there, did your thing 3 times, and I did not get bored. It was the same, kind of like a comedian getting up and doing their spiel. You were doing your program. You it had variations and changes and that because, you have different group and different audience and that, but it was fabulous. It was funny. It was heartfelt. It was powerful and you had it all. And so afterwards, I'm like, I got to get to know you more. We end up writing a story on you. And then here you are on the show. You've got a new book that's come out since then. So appreciate you coming in. But, there really is a power to what you do. There's a style of what you do and you change people's lives in just minutes, really. Because I always say you've got to be able to grab a nugget when you're going to take the time to hear someone speak and take that with you to help change you. And you had several that I took home. So thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. And let's get started and find out a little bit about you, and what's behind you. And so why don't you kind of talk about the passion? And I know we read about you skydiving and things like that.
Yeah, you're going to have to get me past that one. But we'll get.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. And I would love to just take you everywhere I go. So you could just introduce me everywhere. So thank you for your kind words. It's been such a pleasure really getting to know you and in just different capacities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I love your strength. So when did you find out and figure out that you wanted to be this person that stands up in front of people, which a lot of people do not have the ability to do that, and change lives?
Well, when I was 3, I started performing. Like my first dance recital in front of everybody. Okay, it was on the Admiral. If you've been in St. Louis,
yeah.
you remember the Admiral.
Oh, I love it.
And I was doing a tap dance, song and tap dance to when the red robin comes bob bob bobbing. And let me tell you, I was not shy. I started picking my nose in the middle of the song because business called. I don't know, but really, that is what it was at the age of 3 that I really started becoming very comfortable just being in front of people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what my dance performing arts background led to. I didn't know I would end up here at this time, but through that, I became an educator also and just have a passion for teaching. And at one time, I was in the school system. And so you were talking about smells and going back to school and, all those things that brought up for me. But I left teaching, and it's kind of when my two worlds blended together because I realized that I really wanted to start helping adults.
It changed.
And
It was on you. I go, I'm going to take a drink. And as soon as it changes, I'm
It's
like,
on,
I'm gulping.
it's on auto switch, so it's not you right.
But I wanted to help adults because I knew that if I could get in and help adults, it would honestly trickle down into the family system. And so it's a long story of what led me here. But I am passionate about coaching, about speaking, and really about training also.
Yeah, I'm getting a little video of you. Just talk away and tell us what you're doing. You're so
Now
cute.
you're really
It was so cute.
You know what?
I love
Adults,
her energy. Just, like, I
I
gotta
love the
get her
fact that
going.
you say helping adults because kids get a lot of help and adults get kind of looked over because they think, oh, you're an adult now. You know how to do things. You know how to handle situations.
Right.
But how many of us adults are like, man, we need lots. Kids got it figured out more than we do, even though we've been through it and we act like we're the adult. We can teach the kids how to do things. It's like, we need a lot of help, man.
Yes. I mean, kids really do. They know when to play. They're like, I need to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are better at being, I feel like, more in tune with themselves.
Yeah.
Than we are.
This world.
That is so true because she needs to learn how to play, when to play it, put work away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's true. I think we're in this world now where nothing shuts off. Mm-hmm. Politics don't shut off. I mean, news doesn't shut off. Everybody's opinion never shuts off.
Right.
Our social media, our computers, we literally are going 24/7. If you work for somebody, they think you're available 24/7 because of the devices that we have. It's really hard to shut down. It's really hard to not be a perfectionist. It's you talked about that when you were speaking, how everything needed to be perfect, and you were mad at your husband if you're up doing the dishes while he's in bed. Well, that was your choice to do the dishes. You didn't need to do them.
Right. I didn't have to. I really say that I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way that ease isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation.
That's a good.
And when you think about ease being the foundation of success, you can truly do things differently. And, for me, I was overcommitted. I was overbooked. I was thinking that if I slowed down, I would get behind. Right. I will be behind.
Welcome to my world now.
And so,
I see you pointing at
it. And so from that, I ended up in burnout. I ended up in the hospital with supraventricular tachycardia. It was only a night visit, but whatever. Still, it wasn't pretty.
I've been there before. I've actually same thing.
Yes.
I was in for a few days.
Yes. And it was through that I started researching what do leaders, what do business owners who have long-term sustainable success, how do they operate differently? And they do operate differently because I would call myself, I used to be a classic high achiever, and so I had to learn how to be a peak performer where I was leading with clarity and I was making better decisions. And through learning how to focus on being a peak performer, I could truly change and I could thrive in ways that I wasn't thriving before.
Okay, so how does we, of course we don't have that long, and then it's not like a one stop and all of a sudden, how does someone begin to progress to make changes? First of all, if I had 5 more people on our team, that would probably alleviate
that work
the
just
10,
like you.
The 10 people that I have to be at all times. They work like me. It would be great. Yeah. But, that's not always monetarily
achievable
to do that. So I don't know where you begin to stop this process.
That is really something that a lot of business owners struggle with, right? As business owners, solopreneurs, of having to manage it all. And it definitely is a struggle. So one of the ways that I like to look at in doing that is there's 4 pillars that I focus on with my clients. Okay. And it is mindset, connection, well-being, and focus. And when one of those is out of place or a weak link, you are not thriving at your very best. You're really not in peak performance. And so it's learning how to get all of those in place for you. Now, everybody's going to be different, right? Your peak performance, your high level for you will be different than what you have to have in place to be at your peak performance. So taking all that into consideration, but those are the 4 pillars that I really look at.
Okay.
And my framework is succeed with ease, the succeed with ease framework. And it's one of the reasons I wrote my book.
Yeah, let's hear your book.
Oh yeah. So
Tell us about your book.
my first book, I was in a couple anthologies, and I get to be in yours, which is fabulous. My first book is Succeed with Ease, Mindset Mastery, and it's 25 principles to outsmart burnout and redefine success. And what I love about this book is it is truly by principle, 25 principles. Okay. And in there, you're going to get some context around it. You're going to get some take action ideas, and you're going to get some thought provoking questions to help you figure out, like, how can I really do this?
Yeah.
And so it's very like action oriented. There's notes pages in there, and it's quick. Like, it's a quick, short read.
That's my kind of book.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I wrote it for that. As it really is,
because someone like me.
Well, especially people with ADD, it's like, you know what?
Keeping your attention.
Yes, you want one a day, you know, and it's not filled with a bunch of my stories and all of that. Like, if you like that, you're not going to get that in this book. But what I love is it's a coaching tool for me also, because clients of mine, when they start like feeling like they're going into the strain, I can talk about what strain is in a minute, but I'm like, go back to your book. Like, just find one principle that speaks to you right now. And there's coaching tips,
but it
right,
is your
right
story.
there. It is.
It's your story because you wrote the book because you had to
go through these lessons. Yes.
In order to get there. John Maxwell says you can't write the book unless you've lived the book.
Correct.
Some of us can't get out of what we're living. So that's where that comes in handy, because, you know, you can really love what you're doing. You can really love, you know, we can love, I love creating the magazines. I love writing the children's book. I love what we do, but at the same time, I'm burnt out.
Complaining about it the whole
time. I'm loving it, because it's become so much and so much on my plate, and that you begin to burn out. And so how do you get out of that rat race of the, you know,
we read Kelly's book.
We read Kelly's book.
and what I have found, Kelly, myself,
and drink more.
Yeah. Even as a coach, that's the power of coaching. I couldn't get out of my own way. I had to have someone else get me out of my own way, because we're all like this. You know what I mean? We can't even see other possibilities, right? And that is what I help people do, is really expand the lens to see more possibilities when this is no longer working.
And it doesn't necessarily have to mean someone's in a high-powered job or owns this big corporation.
Correct.
It may be just trying to function as a person at your job that you have, as a mom or a father.
To turn certain things off when you need to turn certain things off.
Yes.
We were in the hot tub the other night. We were going to relax. We're just going to sit in the hot tub and relax. And she started bringing up work. And the next thing you know, she started stressing out. And the next thing you know, she started thinking about what she had to get done. And I was like,
it was like, oh, quiet. Everything comes to the surface. Like, what needs to be done.
This is relax time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the...
I think I'm a lost cause.
What, you are not first.
I'm like Olive with the trainers. I'm Olive the dog. I'm not trainable.
We can teach an old dog new tricks.
Did you put old on front of that?
One of the things that I do, and I do this specifically for people that don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
I do a 1-day VIP breakthrough experience. Okay. And in that 1 day, you can break through the things that you just talked about, right? Not having my brain shut off. Emotions come up, right? Like, we are emotionally driven human beings. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes not often, everyone, through life, our emotions pile on top of each other. And whether it's guilt, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, like, there's core emotions, and they start piling. And then the next thing you know, those are running our cells, and we often can't shut off and calm down. And in that 1-day experience, we take care of that to level the emotions back off, and it helps emotional intelligence, which I feel like every leader, every business person, really every human, but you know, especially if you're running teams, if you're running a business, needs to really focus on emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. Because when you have clarity, you make so much better decisions. Yeah. Right. That's the whole thing about peak performance is bettering ourselves into more clarity and better decisions.
Fantastic. Well, Kelli, I wish I wish every time we have guests, I'm like, I wish we had like hours with them. Instead, it seems like it just flies by and
I
there's
need
so
a
much
VIP
space.
experience right
I
now.
need a VIP experience
Before we
right
leave
now,
this
too.
room, I need VIP experience.
They want to get a hold of your book. They want some coaching. They want a consultation. They want you to be at their next event. How do they get a hold of you, Kelly?
Yeah. So my website is Kelly with an I, Kelli, Risse, RISSE.com.
All right.
And all of my services are on there, whether it be speaking, workshops, coaching, consulting. I have an amazing assessment that I do with people as well who are interested in that. So there's many different avenues and ways that people come into working with me, which is great because we all need different things.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
KelliRisse.com. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, all the socials, and I have a YouTube channel as well.
Yay, perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Kelly.
Yeah.
Really appreciated your time with us today. Coming up next, we're going to have the New York Times bestselling children's author Bruce Coville with us, talk books. And Kelly, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank
All right, you are listening to the In Your City show, the hottest happy hour in STL. We'll be back with more on the new Lou information station right here at louinfo.com. We'll be right back. Do it after. Welcome back to In Your City show right here at the Lou Information Station. So excited to have this next guest with us, Bruce Coville. Wow. You know, I've had so much fun writing my children's book. I have another one coming out, and I'm so completely jealous of you, Bruce. You have taken the world by the storm with the books that you've got out there right now. Bruce Coville is a New York Times best-selling children's author. His books have sparked the imagination of millions around the world, from My Teacher is an Alien to the Unicorn Chronicles. I mean, just a treasure trove of whimsical worlds, unforgettable characters. And we're so glad to have you with us here today and share some of the insight on your, path through writing children's book. And when I see in your early life what you started with, I mean, from being a teacher, that's cool. That makes sense. Being a magazine editor, that makes sense with the world you're in. A toy maker brings us back to children. Cookware salesman, I'm not sure. That must have been just something you needed to do. A grave digger. A grave digger. Is that where all the aliens and things are coming from?
Well, that was good for imagination. Actually, as a grave digger, I was in a little country cemetery. We didn't use a backhoe. I dug by hand. The cemetery was run by my grandfather. At a certain point, he got tired of digging graves. So he said, okay, you're it. Actually, each of my younger brothers in turn took on the job. I was still digging graves when I was a teacher. It was a good way to work out frustration sometimes in the afternoon.
Oh,
and I'm
my
probably the
God.
only person you'll ever meet who is laid down in an open grave and looked up from the bottom and see what it was like, because when else would I have a chance?
Oh my gosh. That definitely sparks where you're at right now. So over more than 100 um, uh, children's young adult books, over 16 million copies sold, and translations into more than a dozen languages. That's fantastic. What is it? I mean, did you ever dream that which was your first book that you actually wrote?
The first book I wrote did not get published, and it shouldn't be published, and nobody will ever see it, although it's still in my drawer. The first published book was called The Foolish Giant. It's a little picture book. My wife has illustrated many of the books, and she also writes some. And she was sitting one night. We just had a baby. Excuse me. She was about a month old. Baby, not my wife. And I was taking a class in writing for kids at Syracuse University, and coming up and babbling on about it, talking too fast as I usually do. My wife is much quieter, and she sat there sketching. And I'm going yak, 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 yak. And she's going draw, draw very calmly. I'm going blah, 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 blah. She's very calmly drawing. Finally, she turned the pad around and said, write me a story about this guy. And she'd drawn him. She had done a lot of the work for me in that she'd created a character. And the most important thing in the story is the character. You can have the most exciting thing in the world. You can have your hero hanging by his fingertips from a cliff 1,000 feet above a raging river filled with jagged rocks that'll come in half and cut him in half, and crocodiles with 8-foot jaws that are dying to eat him. And if he's a total jerk, who cares? So the first part of writing a story is getting a character you care about. character plus problem plus solution is the basic remedy for a story. So she handed me this picture and said, write me a story about this guy. I'm not stupid. If my wife tells me to do something, I do it. It's a good way to get through life.
Exactly. You hear that, Gordon?
I heard that. I heard that.
So I did write the story, and she did these fabulous illustrations for it. That was in 1977, 76 and 77, worked on that. We actually got the first letter from my publisher on July 7th of 1977, 7777. Supposed to be the luckiest day of the century.
Yes.
And that we got, after 10 years of trying, got a letter saying, we're interested in this book.
Wow, fabulous. That's definitely your luck. That's everyone's lucky number, but you got all of them in one sitting there.
Yeah.
So is it true you grew up dodging cows to hide away and read when you were young?
Yes, my grandparents' farm was right around the corner, and I had certain responsibilities as a young person there. And I did like to, when I was even younger, play in the field where a lot of the cows were fenced. But mostly, I really liked being inside reading. I kind of like rainy days still, because on sunny days, my mother would say, it's a beautiful day, go outside and play. And I think, I'm right here. I'm really happy reading this book. I'm not causing any trouble. Can't I just stay here? But I got sent out to play. So yes, I tried to stay inside to read as much as I could.
We were talking about that, I think, on our other show, talking about how parents back in the time, it was like, go outside and play, and
Go.
don't come back in till the street lights come on.
No, well, we didn't even have street lights where I was. You just came out the backyard and yelled for your kid.
And
As we were
everybody
out
would
in the
come
country.
running. So you have these characters in your books, aliens, unicorns, monsters, and I know your wife is sitting there listening to you talk and coming up with these characters. Is there something that inspired you, growing up, that you were just fascinated with aliens, and are you still?
Yes, I am still fascinated with aliens. You're going back to prehistoric times here, but when I was really young, like maybe 9 or 10, Little Lulu comics, there was a character named Tubby, and there was a sequence of stories off and on when he was having adventures where they're talking to these little aliens. And my best friend and I, and you have to understand, this is way out in the country, so it was 4 miles around the block, but I happened to have a friend close in age who lived right across the street, and we would sit up at night and make up stories about these little aliens that we'd invented. So that was part of the seed for some of the alien books. And there was not science fiction for kids available when I was a kid. Not much of it. There was the Mushroom Planet books by Eleanor Cameron. And I read those. And though I've never met Mrs. Cameron, I consider her one of my teachers. Every book that I read, the author, if I'd known something from, is one of my teachers. And she had a trick of ending the story, but then throwing a little twist in it, an image that you couldn't stop thinking about. It's very effective. I call it an unfinished chord. So with My Teacher is an Alien, it was supposed to be a standalone book. It was not meant to be a series. But I'd used that trick. At the end of the story, one of the kids is going off with the alien. And Susan, the young girl who tells the story, it's first person, ends it by saying, at night, I go out and I look at the stars, and I wonder what's going on with Peter out there. And I had at this point published about 20 books. And this one, you should pardon the expression, took off like a rocket. I got a call from somebody at Scholastic one day, a guy I sort of knew, and he said, man, your name is on everyone's lips here. And I thought, oh God, what have I done now? Am I being censored? And he said, no, My Teacher's an Alien. We can't keep it in stock. And I could literally feel my position in the field changing over a period of a few months. The book sold more in its first year than my previous 20 books had sold in 12 years put together. It just literally changed my position in the field.
Oh, I bet that it did. So you said you had a little baby that was a month old. Do you have a daughter, a son?
Oh, that's a daughter. I have 3 adult offspring.
So
I've used
how
my daughter in 10 books. I used her character a lot.
you used that's fantastic. Our dog, I use my daughter in one, and then our dog Olive is in the other one. But I'm trying to get something where somebody will catch it like yours, and off I go. I'm out into the world of big time publishing. But I guess I'll just have to envy you. But you have 3 daughters. What was it
No,
like?
3 kids. Boy, girl, boy.
Oh, boy, girl, what was it like in your household for them? Were you always telling them stories at night? Did your book scare them?
I loved telling them stories at night. That was one of my joys as a young father, was reading the books I loved to my kids. And I now get letters from fathers who are in their 30s saying, I read your books when I was a kid, and now I'm reading them to my kids. It's the greatest
Oh,
affirmation I could ask for. I love that. Um, but I did make up stories for them too, which was really fun and kind of good practice. But I think that's a wonderful thing to do with your kids, is just make up stories. I now have a granddaughter. My daughter has some health problems, so she lives with us, and our 7-year-old granddaughter lives with us. And I used to tell her stories at night, and she would be very directive. Put this in, put in the dragon, put in the princess. You know, she was in charge. I had to do what she said.
that's fantastic.
You know, you've got the full cast audio that you did in 2001. What is it like doing audio versus writing? Is that challenging?
Oh,
And I always wondered about that because I listen to audiobooks too, and it's always like, and then I hear the author actually talking about reading the book. So what is that like, and how is that different for you?
I am a performer. This came about sort of sideways. The most unexpected aspect of becoming a successful children's writer for me was that I was suddenly being asked to speak in schools, to come and present, which I just not anticipated. And as time went on, I became more well established. It has literally taken me all over the world. I've spoken on 5 out of the 7 continents. Um, so I had to hone my speaking chops and my storytelling chops, but I've been a storyteller all along. And sometime in the 1990s, I was contacted by Tim Ditlow, who ran a company called Listening Library. His father had founded it. It was the second oldest audiobook company, and he wanted to do 2 of my books. Now, I'd fallen in love with audiobooks, as you have. I did it driving cross country all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast and back with my daughter when she was 14. And I knew I was going to be in a car moving metal box for 6 weeks with a crazy person, because she was a 14-year-old girl. And I thought, yeah, you understand that, right? So
Yes.
we got a bunch of audiobooks, which at that point you could only get from the library. And we fell in love. Let me tell you, when you are driving across Kansas, Pride and Prejudice is riveting. So I fell in love with audio. And I was at a big conference, one of these conferences you get taken to by your publisher if you're successful. And I walked past the Recorded Books booth. And I had to walk back and forth. I'm not as upfront as I am these days. But I finally stopped and said, you should have some of my books on audio. And they said, yes, we should. That was all it took. So they gave me 3-figure advances for these. And I had auditioned to read one of them myself. And they really didn't like using authors as readers. And when the recording came out, I was very disappointed in this one recording, because one of the characters has a trick name that's very important to understanding that character. His name is Elives, and you can pronounce that in a number of ways phonetically, but he's Mr. Elives. If you say that little slurry, he runs a magic shop, and his name, Mr. Elives, is Mystery Lives. And although this company talked about consulting with the authors to get the names right, they didn't ask me at all about that. And when I listened to it, it just grated on my nerves. So I thought, because I am a performer, was doing theater at the time too, I'll do the next one myself. So Tim contacted me about licensing a couple books. And I said, no, I'm going to record them myself. He wrote back and said, what are you, crazy? And I wrote back and said, yeah, everybody knows that. So we began a conversation that led to, and he says it was my idea. It was actually, I say his idea, but that's what happens in true collaborations. We decided to try doing books with full casts rather than single readers. It was pretty controversial at the time. People would say that's not a real audiobook, but it was. We were not doing what like the BBC does, adapting and shortening the book. We were reading the exact text, but using multiple actors. And I was directing these, and I found that I absolutely loved it. And the rehearsal would be people coming over to the office that I had, and I would have 10 people that I really adored reading stories to me at night to rehearse with me in the studio. I found I had a gift for directing them. We did this for 5 years, and we accelerated. We ended up recording our biggest project was we recorded The Golden Compass, which was a huge hit at that time in the UK with Philip Pullman himself reading it with a full cast of actors drawn from the British stage and radio theater supporting him. And that was just massively exciting. But at that point, he sold his company to Random House. And I thought, they're going to look at how much we spend to make one of these recordings, which are insanely expensive compared to just using a single voice, and say, we're not doing that anymore, which they didn't. But I loved it so much that I decided to start my own company, which we've been running for 25 years now. We've done, well, about 125 recordings. And that's my audiobook story.
Gosh,
That's awesome.
that's fabulous, incredible. What a journey that you have had. If someone's out there and they're thinking about that, they want to write stories, what would you say to inspire them to give it a try, to show their creativity, their art, bring it to
Well,
others?
I will give you, when I do speak in schools, I'm always asked for advice for the kids. And I give them 3 or 4 pieces of advice, and I'm going to add something on for your adult listeners. The first is to simply read incessantly. Read. If you're not a reader, you're never going to be a writer. And all the reading you take, you have to intake all this language and choose the books. You want good language, but also other books can teach you structure and style, but it's endless reading. Keep a journal and write. I can't tell you how many people will tell me, I would love to do a book someday. And I'll say, well, have you been writing? They said, no, but I would like to write a book someday. You can't do it someday. When I was teaching, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to write because it was the only time I could do it, the only time I could find to do it, because I was obsessed with doing it. And I remember when the first book came out, one of the other teachers said, oh, I've always wanted to write a book. I just didn't have the time. And I thought, you got the same 24 hours a day I do, honey. You're just not using them. So you make the time. You have to insist on the time to write. And the third thing is, and I quote Winston Churchill to the people of England during World War II, never give up. Never. Never.
We'll never surrender.
Never give up. I went to college with people who were as good or better than I was as a writer, but they will never be published because they give up.
Yeah.
They've got books in their drawer that they're afraid to send out because they might get rejected. Well, when I'm teaching adults, as I often do, I explain, nobody, to the best of my knowledge, has ever written a book so bad that when they sent it out, the editor drove to their house, rang their doorbell, and when they answered, they smacked them in the face and said, don't do that again. Your total downside is a little piece of paper, well, now a little email that says, sorry, we don't want it. Now, I got tons of those. It took me like 10 years from the time I started sending stuff out to actually make a sale. And I hated them. They call it a rejection slip. I called it the ugly baby letter because, your story comes from inside you. Getting one of these rejection slips is like getting a letter that says, dear Mr. Coville, we've carefully examined the photographs of your child and, dude, you got one ugly baby. But you cannot let that stop you. Just keep sending it out. And that's what sometimes, there's a fluke. Somebody sells their first book out, but usually it's a long process. It's like, I used to compare it to putting up a brick wall in your bedroom, running into it head first every day for 10 years, and it falls down, then you're a writer. It's just.
Well, besides your fabulous books, the Unicorn Chronicles series, Rod Albright, Alien Adventures, the anthologies, you can go to Bruce Coville. I mean, I pulled your name up and there's everything there from you to be able to get a hold of your books, be a part of what you're sharing with us. Is there anything new that we should know about that's coming out that you want to share?
I don't know if I'm telling this tale out of school. I'm right now running scripts for a pair of graphic novels based on 2 of my books.
You are a busy, busy person. Well, thank you for sharing your time with us and giving us a little bit of your world of writing and all that you have brought to so many kids, and the fact that parents who read your books to the kids are now reading to their kids and their grandkids is really phenomenal. So thank you for sharing your time with us. That's Bruce Coville. It's on the screen there, Coville. If you haven't already heard of him, you need to, and check out his books. Love them. Love My Teacher is an Alien is fantastic. So thank you again, Bruce. We really appreciate you.
Oh, this was so much fun to talk to you. Partly because you laughed at my jokes, so I really appreciate that.
Anytime, we're here for you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Wow, what a great individual. Really, just fabulous talent. And just think of the stories that his kids got to be able to listen to
Oh, I know.
along the way. And he practiced on them, and how great his audio must be too. That's so much fun. So, gosh, well,
My mom used to make a story up every night when I went to bed when I was little, like Chance's Timothy the Church Mouse.
yes,
And
you
she
need to make,
and it's like,
you need to get her to write this down. Maybe
I know.
you can publish your mom's book.
And she probably remembers it all too, because her memory's still so
Sure.
good.
I have a story that I still haven't doodlebug that's in a file. I pulled it out, started working on it. Of course, Coco and the Chocolate Fairy was my first one, and then now working on Olive. So I don't know where the children's book. It's that's kind of an outlet, kind of like singing is for you. It's one of those things that you do to have fun, rather than trying to, I guess, make millions from it. But if that would happen, that would be amazing too, right?
Right.
But before we go, we want to say thank you to Jennifer Williams with St. Louis Closet Company. We appreciate her partnership and being a part of the In Your City show. Go there for yourself. She's right there off of Big Ben. Walk through their studio. It's just gorgeous. There's something for everyone. It doesn't matter what your budget is, small or large. If there's something that's going to be able to help you go from chaos to clarity, she has it. Big or small, whether it's your office space, your garage, your mudroom, a pantry. The cool thing about it is that we talk about all the time is that everything is done on site. Support local. That is what she is all about. And when you do business with Jennifer, you're also supporting local. So check it out for yourself. St. Louis Closet Co. right there on Big Ben, right here locally in St. Louis, and go from chaos to calm or chaos to clarity.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too, because I get to actually see her work. She's going to one of my real estate clients and going to one of the houses they're getting ready to buy. And
Oh, that's
I get to
really
watch her
great.
get
And
to
be
do
able to
something. Yeah.
see what design that she's going to come up with. Yeah, she's definitely extremely creative. Her whole team is, and we appreciate it. So, do you have a favorite children's book? Do you remember from a kid?
I always love the Dr. Seuss books.
Classics.
Yeah, the Golden books. Remember the Golden books?
Yeah.
It was like always,
Absolutely.
I
Mine was Corduroy. I still have the book actually. And I bought like a bear that looked like Corduroy for Carly when she was little.
I can't think of one that was just my favorite, Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, there's one I wish I could think of the name of, but it was the big dog, not the big red or whatever. It was the big dog, and there was a big pink egg that he wanted to wanted to come out of an egg. He noticed.
I remember that.
I can't think of the name of it, but that book's falling apart. I mean, that is one of my favorite, but I can't remember the name of it. If you do remember of it and you want to send us a message and let us know, that would be great. You can also go to In Your City Show on Instagram, on Facebook. Give us a message if there's a story that you have to tell or something you'd like to talk about. We'd love to know about it. CityLifestyle.com. You can check out Clayton, Chesterfield, and St. Charles County City Lifestyle magazines. If you want to partner with us, we would love it. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to share your story. That's what we do each and every month, is share stories. So until our next show, we want to say to you, cheers.
Cheers.